Hello, everyone. Welcome to the physics department Q&A. This is for freshers, and we're here to answer your questions. I am joined by a multitude of people from my subcommittee, including Deaja Manning, our secretary. She is pursuing a bachelor's degree in energy and environmental physics. Our PRO, Shamaya Haywood, who is pursuing a bachelor's degree in medical physics, and Aria Goodridge, who is pursuing a bachelor's degree, or treasurer, who is pursuing a bachelor's degree in electronics and alternative energy systems. Also, we are joined by Daniel Jennings, the current president of the Astronomy Club. All right, thank you everyone for coming out. First, we'll just get right into the questions, and then we'll answer two of the questions that you students have submitted, and then we'll allow Daniel to give us a synopsis of how life in the physics department has been so far for him, along with a description and synopsis of his clubs and their inner workings. So first things first, we're gonna talk about, you've asked for what are some tips for labs. So before I give mine, I would like to allow Deja to talk about her tips for labs. We have many experiences and shenanigans as it comes to labs. So let her.
So hello again, guys. Some tips for labs. Always be on time. That is one of the main tips I'll leave for you guys. Well, since it's online now, I guess they will probably extend the time a little from when we were doing face to face. But it's still important to be on time because you do have laptops, and laptops basically you guys go over what the lab will be about, and you don't want to miss it. So definitely be on time. I would say, what else? Yes, read your labs before you go, please, because you will get lost in the laptop and you won't know what to do or where to
Mercy.
start. So please ensure you read up and have some knowledge of what you are going to do, expected results. So if anything goes wrong, at least you can catch yourself and say, yeah, this is not what I'm supposed to be getting. Um, yeah, that's basically what I have to say. Shamoya, anything?
All right. So I'm going to give the question to Demitri Grant, who is here now, our deputy department representative. He's pursuing a bachelor's degree in electronics and compliance, a double major. So I'm just going to remind him of the question, which is any tips for lab.
Okay, good night, everyone. Tips for labs. So the first tip I
Good
give
night.
is go through the lab before actually going to the lab. It's best if you go through the lab well in advance of the lab. Going to the lab entails actually reading up on the material, not just what's in the lab and Googling the answers, but actually trying to understand the background material on what the lab is asking you. You can go through it with your friend. It's best that you find a lab partner, even if the course doesn't require you to have one. It's good to go through the lab with friends and or fellow colleagues. It's best. It will help you focus yourself, and it will help you guys to. It'll be easier to go through the labs that way. Other lab tips I'd say is, as my colleague said, be on time. It's important to go on time so you can hear any key information that the lecturers may have for you pertaining to that. So yeah, that's me. Thank you.
All right. So I'll give my tips now. So basically, what I understand a lot of you guys are having a problem with when it comes to lab. So thank you for your lab tips, guys. I'll just add what I usually do. It's a case where a lot of you guys are worried that you won't be able to get full marks just because your theoretical value does not match up with the experimental value that you got. Let me be the first to tell you that That's okay. I've never gotten I've never got the experimental value to be even slightly close to the theoretical value. It's it's a cause it's a cause for concern sometimes because I'm just wondering how am I going to, do a research project and kind of something. But okay, the lab is formatted in a way that if you do everything else well, you can end up with a 9.5. I've never gotten the correct answer, but I've many 90s for my lab's answer. So the format for the lab is quite simple. You just state what you say. So you state you state your errors. You have to think about your errors sometimes because sometimes don't know come to you. But sometimes what you can do, you can get a line and usually you see one or two errors there. Just make sure say you tweak it a little bit and put it in your own words. And you put on the precautions as well and set it up to say that I got the theoretical value. The theoretical value is this, and we know that it's this, and it has a percentage error, it has an uncertainty of such to such. And my experimental value is this, a very far off value, very, very, very far left value that has, it's almost not even in the same range. It's outside, and then you mentioned that, oh, it's outside of the percentage or the uncertainty range. And then you tell why by saying, oh, it's not in the percentage range due to, like, for example, a combination of all of the errors met upon in the lab. And that should be enough for you to get almost full marks for your discussion. And then for the graph, just make sure you have your scale, your title, the titles for your axes. Just make sure your scale is set properly. And your table, just make sure say you box it quite nicely because you lose marks sometimes for neatness if, for example, you draw the table to the edge of page and you don't draw a line connect them. You'll lose marks sometimes for that. But otherwise, you should be fine. I remember to convert all of your units to their SI. If you ever do that, you lose marks like crazy. But you should be fine. I'm going to move on to our Excel. I'm going to give to Aria and Shamoya. So our next question is, all right, this one can be for Shamoya. So can we get a job in as a medical physician after the bachelor without the master's? I don't think Shamoya can answer that question to say that if you can do it with a master's. I would think that you could do something along the line. So what I know for the most part is that all of the bachelor's degrees can allow you to go pursue a higher degree or teaching in physics or, but I'll allow Shamoya to answer that one. Oh, Shamoya not here? Okay. Ooh. All right. All right. Let's give Aria to give her things about that question.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm not big on the medical field, so
Good night.
what I'd say though is that if you could, you can get try for internship. There are a lot of them online, even if you don't have all the qualifications that they have listed. Still try to apply for those. I think that would be the best way to go if you're not 100% sure. Other than that, there are other. You could talk to the lecturers about it because they will have a greater understanding of the field for sure. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Aria. So just to add to Aria's point, for one, I'm not sure if you can become a medical physician right away, but I do know that the NHF, they have scholarships set aside, and they're a really good place to go to for. They have a scholarship set aside for medical physics in particular, and they would be a great place to go and do an internship with and show that you have the work experience, and maybe you could slowly gear yourself and work yourself into the system to become a medical physician without a master's degree. But as I say, a bachelor's degree allows a multitude of different jobs, even those outside of physics. So it should be fine. All right. So this next question is for Aria. This is actually in in her field. So somebody is asking, what kind of electronics are used in
Okay, so with electronics, first of all, you can do almost anything. Every system, every device in the world has electronic component. Cars do, tablets, your mouse, computers, phones, USBs, like everything. So in terms of electronics, I believe that the possibilities are endless. Also, don't forget that there are a lot of skills that somebody with electronics could have. You can be good at math, programming skills, research skills, even problem solving, critical thinking. So those aspects alone can get you almost anywhere, especially if you're going into engineering fields, even mathematical fields, programming fields, like I said, software, electrician, technicians, those kind of jobs. And on the alternative energy side, is a sector that's growing drastically. Some might say it's very small now, but it has a lot of potential when it comes to human resources, straight up to actually designing and implementing. So when it comes to a degree like that, the possibilities are really endless. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I would like Dimitri to also, if he could add to that, to the electronics part, if he could speak to that as well, because he's doing electronics and computer science. So
All right. So as for the degree in electronics and in well, looking at electronics, it's very endless, as my colleague said. You can do many things with it. I'd say you don't have to look at them as separate things, or as I'm saying, you don't have to look at it as electronics or alternative energy. You can do your own thing and combine them and find jobs and create jobs in which you combine both to make alternative energy with the electronics, um, with that from an electronics standpoint, which it kind of really is. You can look at it that way. You can also, for alternative energy, you can also look abroad. You don't have to limit yourself to Jamaica. So you can look for jobs abroad, and there are many jobs that you can possibly get. So I won't tell you the jobs because I don't know all of them, but I will say it's a quick Google search away. So do your research and just go out there and try looking for, and you'll definitely find. So yeah, just Google. Trust me, you'll find many jobs out there with high salaries, and you'll get exactly what you're looking for and more than I could ever tell you.
you, Dimitri. All right, so thank you, Dimitri, and Aria for your insights. I'm going to invite Jennings now to speak about his experience as a and about his tenure in the physics department and about his presidency and about his club, the Astronomy Club. So go ahead, Daniel.
Good night, everybody. So, in general, let me introduce myself before you find out why you should care about anything. I have to say, I'm Daniel Jennings. I'm not just Astronomy Club president. I'm in my final year here, all being well. I'm doing a major in computer science, but my minor is in energy and environmental physics. So I've had my hands full for the last 2 years, and I'm more than likely going to have an interesting final year. But the physics department has been really enjoyable to my development at the university. What I find is that the lab techs are like very curious in developing people's curiosity, and they're not just curious themselves, but they they kind of pour into you, because that happened to me from the very first week. They issued us challenges. And anyone who was brazen enough to take them on, me included, kind of got rewarded by, getting some more challenges and being pushed a little further. The lecturers pushed me into a lot, really. They've pushed me into stuff with the material science research group, the climate studies research group. I'm still a part of the climate studies research group today. And they've also helped me get a good number of internships, some of which I still work on. More than any department I've seen, the physics, it's a smaller department, but that also means it's a lot more close knit. And so they really want to foster your development as budding physicists. So all the time you get encouraged to go on research days, to go to SciTech campus lectures. You're always advised to go to lectures when you have questions. It was actually a lecture in physics that encouraged me to go to an exchange program abroad, and having the push from other lecturers in the department, I was able to do that, and it was one of the best, if not the best, experience that I've had so far since coming to UE. And after that, you kind of realize that the physics department wishes nothing more but for you to maximize your university experience. I Computer science is my major and this is my minor, as I said previously. But I actually enjoy this department a lot more because they are more like a family. And as long as you really want to excel and succeed, your lecturers kind of pick up on that and they start to treat you more like family, you know? Um, I guess my advice is that, the work here is cut out for you. But because the class sizes are smaller, you have more time to ask questions yourself. Um, Anyone who you think can help push you in the right direction, go to them. Don't be afraid to come to physics lectures with your interests, with what you'd want to do. Some of the stuff that you wanted to do, you can get done before you even leave UE, before your bachelor's is even complete. And, make sure you're more than just an ID number, right? Go to them, be somebody, and annoy them if you have to, but when they run you out, they're gonna run you out with your face and your name, and that means you've won. So that is the advice that I would give to you. you know um for astronomy club, I mean, i I'm the president, yes, but we we mainly talk about astronomy and we allow people to go off on whatever tangent that they'd like, because space is important and interesting, but it's not the only important and interesting thing. So we kind of just foster the, kind of off tangent, kind of inquiry communication before anything else, because we kind of understand that it's not just about space and it's not just about the club being a club. It's about the people who are there and where their heads are at and what they'd like to know and find out. Because at the end of the day, you're going to remember the impressions that the club had on you and not just what we've been talking about in each week's lesson. So normally we would have things like roof labs where we go up on the top of the physics um, roof lab and we take a telescope, we'd look at the stars, we talk and stuff. Those are some of the better memories. That is going to be a little bit harder this year because of reasons that I think we all know, but I still am dedicated to making sure that this experience is a good one for everyone who wants to join. So yeah, I think that's it pretty much. If anyone has any questions, they can ask. But yeah.
All right, guys. If anybody has any questions for Mr. Jennings, you can go ahead and send them in the comments. In the meantime, I would like to invite Aria Goodridge to give us a synopsis of her experience in this department as a original student. So go ahead, Aria.
Hi again, everyone. My experience as a regional student. Whew. I would say that Jamaica is a very interesting country. Very, very interesting. For those of us from smaller islands, we're not really accustomed to the weather. I think that was one of the biggest ones to me. A lot of the thunder and the lightning and the rain, heavy, long days of rain. I that was really interesting to me. I couldn't walk into class and thunder and lightning is in my path. That was weird. But I think in terms of classes, the biggest thing for me was the accents. I had to get used to how the lecturers spoke, determining the lingo, as well as colleagues. So like, even somebody will ask me for a pen, and I'm like, "What? I don't understand what you're saying." And they wouldn't understand me. So when it came to asking questions in class, it was kind of weird because I'll have to repeat myself, and then they say that Bajans speak fast, so I will have to slow it down and speak up because I too have to answer my words apparently. So I say yes, it's like, you get on the plane and you're like thrown into a whole new environment. But for all regional students out there, enjoy it. It is a handful, but you will not regret it. The culture difference is amazing. The food is great. KFC, you must try it. They're different in every country. You should. But yes, I would say, put your adult pants on and take on the challenge head on. 100%.
All right, thank you, Aria. Thank you so much. So I do have a little bit some tips from our former physics department representative. She sends her wishes and good luck to you all. She said that she's basically sending tips. She basically says that try to attend all of your lectures and arrive early. I know that with the luxury of staying in our beds and doing classes, it's very tempting to sleep right through. Very, very tempting to just keep it pushing and just go straight through without stopping. She also says to at least like wet your feet in a lecture before you go, right? So expose yourself to the information a little bit before you go to class because it's easy to get swept away if you're not paying attention for a good portion of time. But the lecturers are very nice, so they usually stop and start over and try to help you as much as can. She very important point: avoid texting if it's unnecessary. Avoid texting. A lot of times find yourself in having a grand time or understanding, you're beginning to understand something, then boom, one notification from WhatsApp. You're gone for your phone, and you're gone for good, class done. The only thing you hear say, oh, remember the test next week. That last thing you hear, you're just like, oh, see? And you're gone. So it's very important to pay attention in class. So yes, here's a big point too. Do not be afraid to stop and ask in class. Like our HOD would say when she was teaching us, she says that ask questions. You are paying for it. Of your money, you are paid for it, so you ask questions. It doesn't matter how stupid the question may seem. It doesn't matter how embarrassing it may be to try to ask something that you think is stupid in front of other people. Still go ahead and ask. There's nothing wrong with being wrong and strong and correcting it later. All right, guys. Um, if the if the lecturer rambles and strays on the lecture, do not be afraid to call them out. Right, right. Sometimes lecturers, so they so that lecturers tend to talk on and on and on and on, and they get lost, just like myself. Talk on and on and on and on and get lost, right? Or stray from the topic. It's okay to like just nudge them and say, "Sir, yes, sir, that's very great. Can we go back to the topic now?" Just nicely push them back into it, and it'll be fine. So, and for exams, so that's these are exams. She says if you're consistently taking like say every weekend you take a little time to revise all of your notes, you should be good by exam times. The in courses aren't hard, they're just new. It's tricky at times, but the questions aren't hard, they're new. You usually be exposed to almost the same exact questions in tutorials and lab tests, and then you go to the exam and it's right there, and your cognitive ability does it for you. But it's very important. There are some things that you should remember. Always make sure that you format a calculator, whether it be degrees or radians. Also, big point, learn how to use a calculator. A lot of people don't know how to use a calculator, and then you see people walk out of exam early and have 5 minutes to one, and you like have two more questions for answer and you know what go on. That's because they know how to use their calculator. Some of the formulas are so like you punch in half of the numbers one time, you get the answer same time. And pay attention to significant figures as well. Yeah. So here's one that I hope that will happen to none of you. Please avoid the temptation to sleep in an exam, or please avoid the temptation to sleep all day thinking that, oh, may have 2 hours to do the exam, man. And then I last 2 hours for the day, and then guess what? JPS and flow no one if it be great, so that you're like cut, your internet gone, and you that get that shabush. It happened. So yeah. Her final tip is to just have fun, enjoy the experience. I, for one, can tell you that I've had a great experience so far. Even if you go on the faculty's website and you go into the news section, you realize that a lot of the articles are about physics lecturers or students in physics who have just by doing what they're doing, figuring out and taking the time to understand and become competent, they do extraordinary things and get featured and get amazing opportunities. Like Daniel, some may get the opportunity to go overseas for a semester, some for full scholarships. It happens, and it's a thing. So be proud that you are in the physics department. I would like to thank Daniel again for coming out. We're going to move on to the rest of the questions. And I would like to thank Aria for her synopsis as well. So guys, if you have any questions for Daniel, then go ahead and speak with him. I'll ask him to quickly plug his the club's Instagram and any other social media.
So that's AAUEJM. So yeah, pretty much at AAUEJM. AAUE means Astronomical Association of the UE. It's a really fancy way of saying astronomy club, but we're rolling with it. So yeah, that's it. So, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, so.
All right, thank you so much for coming out. Guys, I really do recommend the club. I've been there, and honestly, I've never laughed more. It's been a grand time so far. So let's go ahead and try to answer the rest of the questions. I see Aria has disconnected, but it's okay. She'll be back soon. All right, so let's go. So the next question: by doing a double major with electronics rather than just minoring in it, to an employer, does that make you more knowledgeable or employable? So basically, the person is asking if you having a double major makes you more impressive by proxy if you minored in it. Well, it's kind of a slippery slope. Let's give Demitri a chance to speak on it since he is doing a
Okay. You broke up for a second there, but I'm assuming you want me to talk about the double major question. You definitely seem more knowledgeable and more employable, but there's also a matter of or what are you sacrificing? Double majors aren't easy. It takes up a lot of time, it takes up a lot of effort. If you minor, however, you can do a lot less subjects and get a lot better grades. So is it quantity or quality or both? So if you're going to sacrifice quality for quantity, I'd say go with quality, do the minor. But if you feel that you can manage it and get the same quality of work with with more subjects than you would with less, then I'd say do the major. It also depends on how you think. It just depends on what you think you can manage. So I'd say if you can manage it, go for it. It definitely does make you seem more employable than anyone with a minor, especially if the job is electronics based. But they also look at quality of work. So if your quality is going to diminish because of the amount of work you're doing, I say that go with the minor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Demitri. Very well said. Very, very well said. It help as well to pursue a extracurricular as well if you could. But in general, the quality of work is what matters to employers at this point in time where education is very accessible to people. Everyone can get a degree, so they become less and less rare. So it's a case where the quality to speak for itself. You yourself have to work towards being the best version of yourself and presenting that. Do not focus everything on competing. Sometimes the best competitor to compete with it yourself, and you build from that and you make yourself great.
I think Orane has disconnected for a bit, but he'll definitely be back as well. So I think the next question is from Blue Fox. Can you guys see it on the screen? So the question reads, how can we
Hello?
or
Okay.
okay, I see. How can we use our Orane is back. So Orane, you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure where I fell
Okay,
where I
go
fell off.
ahead.
Um, so yeah, basically quality over quantity, do your work, try to compete with yourself and become the best version of yourself and present that to the world. That should be fine for you. With a degree from the University of the West Indies, you can make an opportunity for yourself if none seem to appear. All right. So we can go ahead to the next question. So how can we work in the hospital repairing the medical equipment? Certain equipment need a certification from the factory and they require medical degree background. Okay. Oh, so this is a great question for myself because I am going into a field. This is something similar. So I am majoring in biomedical instrumentation. So basically, what you say there is my job description. So I would deal with the creation and the maintenance and knowing how to fix like broken machinery and biomedical devices in hospitals and health facilities because it's very expensive to replace, so they rather repair. How would you go about doing that? So you could go ahead and do your medical physics degree, and then from there you could do an internship or partner with the NHF, or you could go ahead and do something similar to mine, like usually repair of medical equipment would fall under electronics devices. It wouldn't be just medical physics. It'd be like it would fall under electronics because you would have to repair devices. So if it's something that you're interested in, I could go and find out more about from the person who is facilitating the bachelor's degree, or you could pursue what I'm pursuing if you wish. I don't have a minor. I have the whole bachelor's degree program set out for me, so I'm quite fine. So yeah, if you would like to, you could get a 1 year certification after you've gotten your degree. That shouldn't take too long, and you'll be able to pursue work there. But also it's good to know that links run Jamaica kinda. So it's based on who you know as well. So if you can, as I said before, work your way into the system by becoming an intern there and showing what you got. So yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next question. All right, give me a second. So I believe our next question is, how will the department ensure the less fortunate and students overseas have the best teaching materials and experience in the COVID-19 situation? That's a very important question. That's a very good question. Um, so what I do understand, like for example, with Aria, we're doing 2405 and we have to get some kids to do our experiments on our final projects. And she's not in Jamaica right now, but they've decided to bring to ship. They've ordered the materials to be shipped to Jamaica, but Aria isn't in Jamaica. So it was a bit of a scuffle there. Aria, would you want to speak about how they tried to resolve, and I'll come back to the question.
Sure, Rain. They, I'm not gonna say it's easy, at all. It was a lot of back and forth. Department decided to ship them to Barbados. Or I'm not Barbadian. So they're shipping them to my country, but of course that comes with additional costs. And everybody would know that shipping to Barbados is not cheap at all. I think that the department is really trying their best to manage both having the skills that they need you to have with this degree and um, trying to make it easier on the student itself. Because they could have easily told me that I can't do this course and I'll have to do it next semester or whenever we go back to school or something. But I do give them credit for really trying their best to manage giving a quality degree and starting out the student itself. So, for those students overseas, if you have any queries or questions, please let your lecturers know the difficulties that you're having so that they could either, yeah, so that they could help you out because they're really willing to make sure that all their students are handled and dealt with. Thank you.
All right, Aria. I would also like to give Deja a chance to answer this question as well, and then I'll get back to it and tell you what you guys can do on your part to help us figure out what we can do to help you. Go ahead, Deja.
Like Aria was saying, because I actually know some students who are living abroad, and it's actually hard sometimes based on the feedback that I'm getting because sometimes when you email lectures at the departments, depending on if they're busy or maybe your email ends up in the spam, um, a delay in getting your queries answered, and so you get frustrated, etc. But good thing to note that like our courses, the physics department, they're really trying their best to help all of their students to the best of their abilities. They really try and get to know the main content students are having in each of their classes, and they always try to rectify those problems. Sometimes us as individuals, we may not like it, but the reality is we are facing something that is totally way overhead, bigger than ourselves, and the way how the department handles it, I think they're doing a very great job. So um, please be patient with them. And I know it gets frustrating at times because they say you're paying your money and all of this. But bear in mind that this is all new for us. So the fact that they will go out of their way to ensure that everyone is comfortable, it says a lot about our department. And like our fellow colleague was saying, because the department is so small, we're also close knitted. And so the problems, any situations that we're having, they really, really try and ensure that at the end of the day, everyone is getting their valuable education and everything is running smoothly. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Deja, insight, Aria and Deja. What I will say that this situation is a dynamic one, and the department will have to operate on a response basis. So if you are having trouble, as Aria suggested, speak to your lecturer, speak to me, speak to any of the panelists you see here, and let them know your issue, and we'll get it resolved. It's a case where the department can't expect and can't predict any problem that may arise. So they need you to, as soon as it comes up, report it and tell us, and we'll try to get a solution going for you guys. Okay. All right. So all right. So I believe we're almost finished. So the next question is, what do I do in a case where my Wi-Fi went away in the morning, making me miss my tutorial, by extension the quiz? So the person is basically asking, what do they do if them internet, if flow does not want them be great and them lose them internet and them not get to go them tutorial or the quiz. Um, so from my experience, if you do miss a tutorial quiz, it's not the end of the world, but circumstances are not your fault. So I do believe that your teacher or whoever is your tutor for that tutorial they'll surely allow you to do it at a later date, or maybe that same day. Just explain the situation and they will do their best to help. If the situation does not seem as if it is improving, you can let me and I can escalate the issue for you, or you can speak to your deputy department rep, Demitri Grant. Demitri, do you want to add anything to that?
Definitely. So I would say that as the problem arises, you take maybe a picture of evidence just to showcase that you have proof that this happened at this particular time. So you can say, my Wi-Fi went at this time, here's the proof, I need this to be resolved. And your lecturers are not evil, they understand the situation that we're in, and they will help you. Furthermore, you can always, if you know in advance that Flow or JPS going to move away, or JPS and Flow move away in advance of your classes, you can always either go to somewhere near you that has Wi-Fi, and you can just, sit down in a corner far from everybody else, catch and steal some free Wi-Fi and do your quiz or your classes. I've done that myself. Flow move away, so I just went to a nearby college and I did what I had to do. So thank you for that's my advice to you.
All right. Thank you, Dimitri. All right, guys, we're at our last question, and then from there we'll each give our experience as students in the physics department, and give you a little bit of the stories the hijinks that ensue with being a part of this department sometimes. The last question is, what are some of the key things to keep in mind for managing the schoolwork and stress? All right. So we're talking about balance here. So to manage your schoolwork and your stress, the two are not separable. The two are not separable. They're one in the same. Schoolwork and stress are go hand in hand. But it's okay to feel stress. It's very important to find a way to calm yourself down, de-escalate, and mitigate the stress, or get rid of the stress, basically. So it may be at a case where you'll have to find your own balance. Your balance may be that with your schoolwork, you find a club that you enjoy going to, that makes you laugh, that makes you happy. Pursuing an art that you might be interested in, maybe painting, maybe singing, maybe dancing, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's just sitting down, drinking a glass of water and just cooling off, taking a breath, taking a and just saying, "All right, I got this. So I must at least try." Right? Anything is better than a zero. Right? And for in case of if stress, if schoolwork is the main source of your stress, what you can do is reach out to other people. We have all experienced, all of the panelists here, we have all experienced our fair share of stress, running up and down, jumping, diving, to giving lab reports, all of the all of the things, you know. And we got through it by having each other making each other laugh, laughing at when things just look like it's falling apart, putting it back together again and moving on. It's really easy to get there sometimes, but once you have people by your side in this close knit of a department, you'll be fine. Trust me. I'll give each of the panelists a chance to talk on this point as well. So go ahead, starting with Deja.
Um, you basically said everything, but also, you guys should always try smart work. I mean, coming into first year, I know you guys want everything to be perfect. You want to get the best of grades. You're coming out of school, top boy, top girl, first of your class. Let me just say this from now. University is a whole different ball game. I've seen persons who are top of their class, first place, everything, coming in and fail their classes, stressed out. Guys, listen, we are humans and we are not robots. We need breaks. So take some time for yourself. If you even have to sit chill, look out of space, talk to your friends, something. But all work and no play makes jail very, very dull, girl. I'm not saying you shouldn't waste your time, you know. No. Balance. It's all about balance. And also, for your lectures, what I did, I'm a very strong believer in smart work over hard work because if I can do the smart work and get the same grade as you for stressing out yourself, I mean, saying something because I'm good. But guys, look, observe your lectures. Look how observe how they teach, how they set exams. Observe that and set your study regime around that. If you know they're not going to give certain things, don't bother waste your time and study the entire book. Because even though teachers will say study everything, everything don't come. Okay? So when you see the first exam or the first test, you can kind of have an inkling of an idea of what you expect going forward. But don't kill up yourself and stress out yourself and say, Lord, gee, no, guys, it is okay. This is university. It is fine. We're all stressed out, but it's how we deal with it. And like Orane said, have people by your side because friends help you get through the toughest of times. Best believe. So just relax, guys. Relax.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Deja. Go ahead, Aria.
I mean, I think they just summed it up 100%. I don't have much to add on that at all. I think that stress is a natural part of life. You're gonna have to deal with it sooner or later. So I think it's best to learn how you work. I think university is a great space to understand how you react in certain situations and learn to better yourself in that. I think that's one of the main pluses university has. So really take that opportunity to learn yourself and better yourself for sure. Have people by your side. For those of you who don't know many people, start in your classes. If you know that there are some people in classes that talk more than others, even online now, the ones that talk more, just message them and ask them a question. Um, you know, everybody's normal. We all need help in this space, so be kind and help one another. And the next thing for sure is working smart, time yourself. You can't do everything at once. What I normally do is I will note like the three things or the four things that I want to do today, and I will get them Like I would say, I'm doing this for hour and doing that for hour, and I a lot in time for breaks because you need a break. You can't go all night. You need two breaks. So really manage your time and work smart. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Aria. We'll go to Demitri.
All right, so my colleague said a lot, and I'm just gonna add to it. So, firstly, in terms of managing schoolwork, check Orville a lot. Just like make Orville your best friend, the most used website. Just always checking because your lecturers are usually adding stuff and sometimes people miss things. So you don't want to be one of those people who miss things. Get a schedule book. So or a homework book if you want to call it that, but like write down everything that you have to do in terms of schoolwork, in terms of activities like what you're doing in your extracurricular activities, and even home chores. Just write it all down, and if you have it in front of you, it's harder to lose track of what you need to do, and you're more likely to check it off. And well, it's good to see everything checked off at the end of the day as well. Study smart. Everybody's been saying that. I really believe that. So what I usually do, I get the past papers well in advance and I do them all. So they're there. They're on UE link, I think is where you need to go to get past papers. So just get them and you'll be good for exams. Tutorials and you'll be good for exams and coursework. As my colleague said, form a close-knit group, partner up with people, do the thing together. Don't cheat, but help each other. Um, and don't look at it as you're managing schoolwork. Look at it as you're managing life and you're managing what you're going to do for the rest of your life. This is you practicing and preparing for what you need to do beyond UA. So treat it with care, love it, and just study hard and study smart and just get passionate about it because this might be what you're doing for the rest of your life. And just if not for the rest of your life, it's something that you can use and something that you can be proud of at the end of the day. With that being said, don't worry if you fail something. Failing, of course, is not the end of the road. It's not the end of your life. It may feel like it sometimes, but you can always come again. You can always do the course again. And it's a very common thing. People fail. Even as my colleague said, even the smartest people come and they fail. So it's a possibility, but don't take it as the end of the world. Take it as an opportunity to come again and come again harder. And sleep, yeah, don't forget to sleep. Always sleep. Like sleep is so important. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't neglect your health, guys. So if you sleep and you're eating properly, exercise maybe, you'll be very good. So just keep at it. All the best. No flow.
All right, guys, you heard it here first from the physics department. Sleep over stress. Now, what I mean is sleep over stress. All right. So, as we're going into the end of it now, I would just like to invite each of you to give a synopsis of your tenure in the physics department. If you have a funny story, you can go ahead and drop it in at some point. But we know what Deja have in plan already. Though. All right. So we'll start with Deja.
Okay. So to be honest, when I started UA, I was actually doing computer science, but it's not for me. So I switched over to physics. And to be honest, the first time I started physics, I was like, what on earth did I get myself into? Because one, I would not consider myself a great math person. And I'm here doing physics, so I have to do calculations, etc. I wouldn't even consider myself good with the calculator either. But here I am deciding to do physics. And then went to labs, saw Orane, realized that Orane would make a very good friend for life because he's a very smart person, very kind person. And I say, you know what? It's great to make friends in these situations. And so I latched onto Orane. Guys, it's not always try and find people who you know can help you and push you on further in life. It don't make sense to stay with the group that everybody know understand and follow on sit down there so and fail. I was not going to do that. So I found Orane and I made a good friend for life. And here I am, still in physics, can barely do calculations sometimes, but YouTube and Google are my best friends and we make it work. And the teachers, they're cool. So I honestly didn't have a problem learning because they drill it into your head so much that you have to be like, okay, miss, okay, sir, I understand. And then you think you understand, you go exam blank. It happens, it does happen. So I remember we were doing an electronics course and the teacher said it was open book. So you know everybody's saying, okay, you have to pass this open book, but we opened the book and there was nothing in the book because we didn't get anything to write. So I guess you can assume the outcome that story, open book test, and everybody, you know, the majority of us fail, guys. I'm not going to pretty it up, okay? But like our colleague said, it's not the end of the world, and we all passed in the end. It's okay. We made up the grades. So to me, my tenure in the physics department, it's been a very fun journey. I can really look back and just laugh. And now, in my second week, I feel like to cry, but I know it will get better with, it will get better, guys. It does. So that's my short, let's say, insights. I can't go into everything because it's too much, but that's my side.
I'm back, guys. Having internet issues, but have been listening so far to what you guys have been saying.
Welcome back, Shamoya. All right. So Deja, you were finished?
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. So
Okay,
we're
okay.
just talking about our tenure in the physics department, and if we have any funny stories that come up, we can like relive them.
Well, I remember. Oh, good evening, everyone. For me, the lab sessions were the best. I don't know, but I guess having Deja and Orane there, it makes things better. But not only that, they were also my lab partners for, well, typically the 2 semesters, I can say. But I remember the first time when we met a particular person. I won't call any name as yet. And I was so intimidated by him at first. And I'm like, because as we all know, many of us, when we are coming from high school, our physics education level not really up there because we have some teachers at the high school levels where we don't really comprehend everything. So for me now doing physics, like I was kind of nervous, anxious, like me don't know, but it just afraid when it comes to physics because of course we're not genius in physics, but my understand say yeah, everybody can make it. So at first I was so intimidated by that one lecturer. Like your him voice just rough. But I just want to tell you guys that being at university, being at UE, especially in the physics department, you have nothing to fear. We have like some of the best lecturers. We have the best tutors. I mean, being in the physics department, I feel at home. Like we laugh about anything. Like we do a lot of crazy stuff during lab. We ask stupid questions because of course it's not everything that you will be familiarized with. But trust me, just enjoy yourself. Laugh when you can. Don't stress out yourself too much. I know that some persons are doing more than one courses that required of them to do labs, because I did chemistry courses, bio courses along with physics courses. So I have to be doing labs for all those courses. But I just want to advise you guys just to plan ahead of time. It's important to plan ahead of time, because when you get stuff started out as quick as possible, like after a while, I can just relax and watch a SpongeBob like Deja. Sorry if it was a secret, but yeah. So I mean, like even though it's a learning process, just ensure that you guys enjoy it while it lasts. So yes, and you're gonna meet some wonderful people. People like Orane, we attack the teacher with the lab book because time did I run out. Like people don't wait until last minute to do stuff, just generally speaking. It's not always a good thing because you just have this fright and you just get, and sometimes you just like the 5 little minutes we have left, you just write a sentence. Like you write piece of the sentence because you get so frightened and anxious. But as to what I always say, do things before time, do things ahead of time. So if something should come up, you have sufficient time to come up with a plan B or to work around it. So I'm telling you, like the first year for me, it was, I'm not gonna say easy, not easy. It was challenging, but I had the right people to guide me through and to support me. Even Deja, sometimes when I'm getting flustered and anxious and all these things, and Deja is always there to say, "No man, calm down, take it easy." And because of that, no, me kinda say, "All right, then you got this." And you have to remember that mindset is everything. Like I know that probably some of you guys spoke to some persons who were doing or who did the same major as you intend to, and you probably feel a little bit um intimidated or you feel afraid because I say wonder if we can manage this of course here. But there is no need to be afraid. Just ensure that you just remain focused. Your mindset is powerful. It's a powerful thing because trust me, as we all know, for most of our physics courses in level one, like the classes begins at 8 o'clock. And like I know every time I feel to get up 8 o'clock, but just have that little voice there say, okay, no, time for work, time to get up and work. So like yeah, so mindset is powerful. Just ensure that you remain focused and work ahead of time. So that's it.
All right, thank you, Shamoya. I'm going to allow Aria to speak on her tenure and if she have a funny story next, and then Demitri, I'll be right back. So go ahead, guys.
I really got a funny story, but I have one thing. Do not pack out your Fridays, please. If you could have the option to not do lab on Friday, don't do any labs on Fridays. Okay, if you have to have a class, have it early, like 10, 11ish. Don't go past like 3. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna regret it. That's what I have to say.
Um, my experience, I think, is a bit more different from the rest because with my degree, I'm basically doing I'm basically doing computer science in one semester and electronics in another semester. So I live best of both worlds. So apart, across departments, but most of my experience would probably be with computing, the computing group, and most of the friends that I've made have been from the computing side. So some of you are doing across department studies. So I'd say that you have to balance it well. Meet new people on both sides. They're really good people all across SciTech. As for electronics, I'd say that with my tenure so far, first year was quite, I was a loner. I'd say I was a loner. And it wasn't until second semester that I started to come out of my shell and meet new people. And I realized that second semester was so much easier and so much more fun because of the people that I met in comparison to first semester. So don't take for granted the people that you meet in university, not just for help with schoolwork, but links for the future, network. Um, so that was a big part of my first year. The next part of my first year that was big was, yeah, I wouldn't say I have that many funny moments per se, but I would say that I had memorable moments with the people that I met and the things that we did together. And I have memorable moments that I'm making with this group right now, this group of individuals. I put myself out there, so I'd say you should do the same. Don't just come here and do schoolwork alone, but make an impact on UA, make an impact on your fellow classmates, make an impact on your lecturers, and it will definitely help you throughout your life. So that's how I decided to spend my first year, doing schoolwork, making links, and developing myself and others.
All right. So I guess it's my turn now. Thank you all again for your for your stories and for your experience. I really hope that the students watching and the students who will watch are getting a gist of how it is to be in the physical space. Has Ari already spoken?
Yes, she did.
Can somebody? Okay, all right. So it's my turn then. So all right. So I started out in university wanting to do biomedical engineering. But then I took a quick glance at the tuition and I said, no. So I said, all right, I need to figure out a way to do what I want to do, but cheaper. So I went to orientation basically, and I spoke to a physics lecturer. And he basically told me that there's something like that. And he told me about biomedical instrumentation, and I went from there. I said, yeah, fit this cheap, and you can get more money if you go. All right, that's elbow grease and hard work for this. You see me? So so I went in and I had my first lecture was at 8 o'clock class. Best believe somebody did late. I can ask Deja, I can ask Shamaya. Every class 8 a.m. Either me not show up or late. And it's so telling. Like, oh my goodness, I would be late so often. And the catch you joke now. I live on campus and they don't. And they were there before me every morning. Every morning. I disappointment when the teacher the lecturer is in mid lecture. I had to see me walk through the door. Deja and Shama is just like, that boy, yeah. Like yeah. For the most part, I've always loved physics. I've always put it on the back burner because it's always been intuitive for me. Like, it's always easy for me to do well in physics because I've always understood like the physical aspect of the world. So I've always ignored it until now, and embracing it has been such a joy. Honestly, doing labs, the demonstrations were always fun. I always came there like, yeah, me understand what to do, so me done ready already. So I would just I would be like a little bit late. Like, it would be like 15 minutes to the lab or 5 minutes to the lab. It's never anywhere in between. And I would either be running or running to scoop up Deja and Shamaya and drag them to the lab so we can pre-write the lab. Because what we realize is that every time we go to the lab, is a case that we have to be like spending 15 to 20 minutes talking about what we plan to do in the lab
Behind.
before we start writing. Yeah, but it would always be a case that we'd have to be we decided as a group that we would come in, get use the extra 15 minutes before the lab, write up at least the heading and our lab partner's name and like the aim and stuff, and then when the lab come in, it would have nice. So like being in the lab now, it's always been a time. The labs always start out with me and Deja and Shamaya say, yeah, 9 out of 10 this now. And then we do the table, our results then add up. Then we do the graph, realize that the graph not plot properly. And then devolve into chaos. I was like, it would be 15 minutes left on discussion to start right yet. so, so it would always be a great time trying to hand in the labs with them. And we would always get the countdown. For those of you who don't know, in physical labs, if 6 o'clock comes around and you haven't had it in the lab yet, 1 minute after that you start losing marks. Them say 4. It would always be a case that we'd be running to give the lab. I remember in one instance where when
He stopped mid joke.
I know, right? It's probably still going on right now.
Oh,
yeah.
oh boy.
So it would be a
Right.
case we were I'm back.
Okay.
Where was I? Yeah, we would be in the far back of the physics lab, and it would be a case that I would have to be the one to run because when we don't understand something or when something is not making sense, Shamaya and Deja are trying to figure out what they did wrong to make it not make sense. I always assume say it's not my fault. So whenever something come up, I run to the front of the desk to ask questions. So that's almost like a whole almost a full lecture hall length. I have to run to go to get information from them. And I remember one time our lab technician, they usually and she saw me coming. She saw me running, she saw me running. And I've never seen somebody take off so quick. She knew that I was going to ask her a question for like the 15th time in that 1 hour, and she take off running. When we reach out the door, now me already see her pass through the window. Me see her through the window and run down. I said, no, miss, where are you running? Where are you running? She said, no, you can't ask them down this, man. So I go down there to go ask them. And then now they ask me question like me know the answer to it. So I was just like, sir, is this supposed to be this or is that supposed to be that? He said, you tell me. Right? And then it was so funny because as soon as I went back into the room, I said, no man, something never makes sense. So I turn back to go out there and ask again. There she was seated. She run back or sit down because she sees me come. So I ran back to her, and this time she couldn't run up because I was too close. So I asked her the question I would get through, and the lab was fine from there. There was also the time that there was an earthquake in the physics lab. And me, Deja, and Shamoya, we were doing our first electronics physics lab. So we were working with a breadboard and learning how the breadboard works. So we were so invested in this breadboard, The earthquake happened, and we don't feel it. Only to see like the teacher that Shamoya spoke about came in, get out of the physics lab now. And it's like, what's going on? So I said, well, go on, why we need to leave the physics lab? Oh, I mean, I wear the proper clothes. I'm here thinking that my lab attire is just inappropriate because this same man has run out students for wearing Crocs in the lab. And me no want to get caught in a Crocs and socks. I get run out of the lab. So basically, I said, get out now. I say, oh, what happened? Is it an emergency? Is there a fire going on? Only for the man say, feel that. I say, feel what? Me and Deja, like, feel what? Only if you see everybody walk out of the room. So he told us to leave. So we all started evacuating. But I said to myself, wait a minute. where is my calculator? Where is my $300 calculator? So big earthquake happening. Me turn up, me spin around same place. Go back and go collect my calculator. And I wow, yeah, I did. Only to be only to see everybody like freaking out because they felt some earthquake. And me and Deja Shamaya just like, what's going on? So I have a plethora of stories I could tell. But being in the physics department, especially with friends, is just a joy and a memory. And I met Demitri in ELED 1405, which was a class about itself. Jesus, that class you'd go to you literally ask like, our teacher is like, you learn it, you is a person kind of teacher. So we'd ask him, sir, what are we supposed to do here, sir, and here, sir? Me no know. So you tell me no. Yeah, pay if you go on lab class now. You don't know nothing about doing a full lab course now. Here. Sir, we must put the oscilloscope. Me no know, you tell me. And then when you make mistake and cover you say, yeah man, you have sense. Or the other lab tech would be there and you would just be like, can't say a country you come from. Like maybe a time, and Demitri was always there, like he was always prepared, and he was trying to figure out the lab and stuff. I would talk and try to figure out what was going on. It would also be like a meltdown situation for those kind of labs because we'd never finished any of those labs until like Corona came in and saved us. Because honestly, we never get to finish any of them labs there. But honestly, being a part of the physics department has been a joy for me. I've always been the kind of person who loves helping people. And the fact that I can be a representative that helps people for my favorite department is just amazing and wow. And to have people that support me like Deja and Shamoy and Demitri and Aria, who are my friends and who support me through whatever, and we can support each other and help each other has been great. I'll leave you with this. So yes, hard work. I do believe that smart work is better than hard work. That smart work might manifest itself by pre-writing labs. In a case and a time like this where you actually get to write your labs and fill out like most of the information, drop your table and everything, and then when the lab actually fill it in, and you're done. Right? The subcommittee, the physics department subcommittee have worked auspiciously to make sure that you have everything that you need to survive this year. Almost all of the material there is there for you. Demitri and myself have worked to get almost 60 textbooks now for right from first year go straight up to your final year. You should be fine. There are also resources. There are labs there done by myself, and you can go ahead and look at the format of how it is done and follow it, but don't copy, follow it and go ahead and get your labs going. And if anything, you can ask any of us for help. You can also contact me by my email or by WhatsApp. We're all there, are here to help you, right? If there's anything that I can tell you more, help somebody if you can, and if not at the service of yourself, help who you can.
Oh, okay.
All right, now, yeah, it should never be a case that you feel like you're too entitled or you're too smart to help somebody, because at the end of the day, even what your labs will teach you is that we as a species come together and make incredible revolutionary things together. We work together hand in hand to bring about change and bring about revolution to the world. So as long as you just follow those advices, reach out to any of us anytime you feel stressed or you need help, you'll be fine. I promise you that. I would like to thank all of my panelists here. I'd like to thank Deja, Shamoya, Demitri, and Aria for coming out and helping. I'd like to thank the PR team, um, the Guild's PRO, helping out and making this a success. So, guys, if you have any more questions, go ahead and quickly answer them for you, and then we'll wrap up. All right. Anything else you would like to say in the meantime as we wait on any more comments? Oh, okay. All right. Can I, okay. So Shomai would like to answer this question. You like to take a crack at this question? All right, I'll go ahead and try to take a crack at it. So with a medical physics degree, physics degree of any kind, you can pursue work as a teacher, as almost anything actually. You can go anywhere with your degree. Which courses are best to take? For in your handbook, the major outlines the courses that you'll need to satisfy that major, and then you fill up with auxiliary courses. So all right. So guys, anything else to say before we close?
You said it all and you said it well.
All right. Anything you want to leave with them before we leave? No? Okay. All
Well,
right. So mhm.
All the best. Do your best. You guys have got this.
yeah, and don't forget to relax and
Pure
sleep when
A's.
you
Pure A's.
guys.
Reach out to us, but definitely reach out to us.
We're,
Yeah, questions will save
we're
your
here
life.
for you.
Yes, ask questions, guys. Ask questions.
All the best, guys.
All right.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you. All right, this is the end of our freshers Q&A session. Hope you learned something. I hope you are acquainted with our team, and I hope that if anything comes to help, you can feel free to reach out to us. We are here to help you. We're here to advocate for you. Remember, say one physics, one frequency, one wavelength. You know, we're all here for each other, and we're always going to be here for each other. No matter how far we reach up the chain, can look up for you and ask for help. Yeah. All right. So thank you, guys. Bye bye.